Time to bring back Undiscovered Gems. It feels like it's been so long since I did one of these because the last time there was one on the channel, it was in fact Ricky doing Buchan Gaze, which was a great video, and definitely something I want to do more in the future where I just get content creators to come through with some great videos that I can share on my channel. Because there's so many great people out there, man, that do this shit. It's such a good little community we've got. And I came up with this new video for Terry Lynn, Kingstonlogic 2.0, pretty much like an hour ago before recording this. I was like looking through some albums that I was like, I need to talk about something. And then immediately this one just popped up and I was like, yeah, this is what I need to highlight because this is not particularly very well known at all. Terry Lynn makes Ragga music, and if you don't know a great deal about Ragga music, then that's okay because I can't say I know that much about the genre either, other than the fact that it's dancehall music coming from Jamaica that fuses elements of electronic music, and my god, does Terry Lynn boldly bring together these sounds on this album. Like, I don't think you'll come across many albums that sound like this, mostly because it's not exactly a genre that you hear about very often, especially in the UK or the US or Canada, wherever you're from. It's not exactly something that gets brought up. It never really popped off in the mainstream either, even though I definitely think there's some potential for this, or in the past for something like this to get into the mainstream. I mean, the absolute banger of a song that is Kingstonlogic, like, holy shit, this is just made for a rave. Absolutely insane how the beat on this track just completely sweeps you off your feet the minute it comes on. Like, you just do not see this coming at all. The first time I played this album, I was just like, I guess you could kind of make some links to Azealia Banks before Azealia Banks was a thing, but it's not really anything on the wave of what she was doing, to be honest. I should probably point out that this is a genre of music that's been going for quite a long time, but this album came out in 2008, which is easily one of my favourites of that year and one of my favourites of the entire decade. Although I definitely need to dig through more albums from that time period, I must admit. But as of now, this is definitely a major highlight of the 2000s. She's very, very blunt and in your face with her politics. I mean, you think of a band like Idols, or you think of an artist like Slow Tie, and yes, they protest, they express anger in their music for sure, but they don't quite just hit you and punch you as hard as Terry Lynn does on this album. She just knows how to hook you in instantaneously. I just don't really feel like many artists are able to quite capture in the way that she does. I mean, she wants you to hear what she's saying. She's ready to change the state of things, I'm assuming in her own country. But, you know, this kind of stuff applies to other countries generally as well. There is just a ridiculous amount of anger, and I mean anger, like this album is filled with anger through and through, especially at the government on tracks like IMF for sure. This is a track that really got me thinking about something that I don't particularly ever think about, but it's something that's pretty obvious and plain as day. But it's just not really something that ever really crosses my mind, and she loops this voiceover, this voice recording of a man talking about how a country can't really ever continue to thrive with rich people if you don't offer prospects to the poor people, which I find really interesting because although it seems obvious just saying that, it's not really something that, like I say, crosses my mind or I ever even really think about. And I'm not trying to be like, well, I'm so rich that I never have to think of the poor people, because that's not who I am at all. I'm definitely not rich. But it's just the way it's worded is really interesting to me, because I just guess I never really thought of that. If you just don't offer prospects to the lower classes, then there's just no way of anyone ever breaking through, because I know plenty of rich people who started from nothing. Like, it's not just something you hear in a rap song that's just a common rap brag, like, you know, hearing from someone like Drake, for example, you know, that started from the bottom attitude. Like, it's an existing thing. There are so many people that started from nothing that became something, but without being offered those prospects, that would never be something that existed. And I just love the way she really wants to bring your attention to these things while actually speaking about something. It's not just buzzwords, she's not just throwing random things around. She goes into very specific details, especially on the track IMF, which I do think is lacking in a lot of political music, because often it's just very much a punk band throwing their anger at the government and just throwing out random words. But there's no real specificness to it. There's no directness to it. There's no, well, if we did this, this could solve things. It's just usually quite a lot of anger. Whereas Terry Lynn has the anger, but also has something to say. The track Street Life as well, where she's just highlighting the impoverished parts of her society and just, you know, reeling off the things that people do because they can't do anything else. They have no prospects. There's nothing to thrive for. There's nothing to aim to do other than just commit crimes, which again applies to a lot more countries than you'd probably want to admit. Bearing in mind though, like, I just don't feel like I'm selling this album in the way that I should be, because tracks like Street Life and IMF, like the absolute banging synths and the frigging heavy beats are just so in your face that you might not even catch some of these lyrics. I only just did it recently to read into more of the things that she's done and said. Like, I know for a fact that she got pretty well known through the video of System, which I haven't actually seen, and I couldn't find it when I googled it, but apparently it's a pretty controversial video. The song itself is remarkable, like that fucking heavy industrial beat, like the way that this album just combines these genres. And then you have like Destiny later on, which is just this subdued melodic type track where she's really highlighting how good of a singer she is, which you wouldn't think she would be that good of a singer, judging by the previous tracks. It's just so unbelievable, honestly, listening to this album. Yeah, this is such a great album, an absolute undiscovered gem as well, like the undiscovered of undiscovered gems. It's certified from me. The one critique I do have though is the track Stone is just Kingstonlogic. Like, she just ripped the same instrumental and sung different words over it. That's kind of a weird moment. But honestly, the Kingstonlogic instrumental is that good that I don't even mind hearing it again. Like, you're not gonna hear a song like this just turning on the radio. So the fact that it appears twice on the album, it blows me away enough to not really mind that she repeated it. It's weird. I don't know why she did that, but it's still good. But yeah, this is just another example of a genre that I've just come across that I find to be really interesting, and I'm probably just going to end up falling down the rabbit hole, just like I did with the genre like Monday music, where you find one album and then suddenly you want to hear more of it, and then you realize, oh my god, so much of this is freaking great. If you've heard this, let me know your thoughts on this album. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you have a good day. Baby.